things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wondered what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
I'm Neutral LaVern, and this is One Street Over. What's going on One Street Over from where you living? We're living right because we get to live and work in Robertson County. We are blessed and highly favored, and those are the words of our sweet county mayor, Mayor Billy Vogel, and we just love reminding all of us just how blessed we are as we get into it this morning. And I'm so excited. Senator Kerry Roberts is in the house, one of my favorite people. I love hanging out with you and talking to you. Man, we've got some years together, brother. You know, I've known you for a while. I think the first time I met you is when I think that Diane came with one of the kids, knocked on my door and said, hey, my dad's running for office or something to that. Maybe that was probably the
2011. January 2011.
January 2011. So that's probably my first encounter with you. But, you know, here's what's funny. I'm surprised we might have crossed paths at some point at Lipscomb because you were at Lipscomb when I was there. Were you
I graduated in 83.
But you taught.
And I taught from 80 until 1990. Yeah.
Because, see, I got there in the fall of 83, left in the spring of 84.
That was the year I wasn't there.
Oh, really? Because that's the only time I was there. And
then I missed you.
Yeah, we missed each other then. Well, now I was there in 2009 and finished my degree because I took a very long hiatus from my degree, probably spent more to finish my degree than I had spent up to that point, just finishing up a few hours. My parents, I know they wanted to just choke me whenever I was like, they've hired me to be U-turn LaVern, and that's what I've been going to school for, so I just might as well do that. I could have just stayed in school and finished it, you know, but I didn't. But I went back in 2009 and got my degree.
I went through school a year younger than, I started school early, so I was a year younger than everybody. So I graduated in 83.
Okay.
And worked for a year and then went back and taught. And it was kind of interesting because, some of my students were older than I was.
Oh, how funny is that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and, it's so, because, see, I started in college when I was 17, and I turned 18 at the end of my first semester at Freed-Hardeman. But I was at Freed-Hardeman for 3 years. I was at Freed-Hardeman for 3 years and was going to complete at Lipscomb. And yeah,
when were you at Freed?
Read my book. He'll tell you all about my nonsense. I was not. People tell. I remember you from Freed-Hardeman. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
What years were you at Freed?
1980 to 1983.
1980. So you were there when you were Diane's sister was at Harding. Sharon.
Freed-Hardeman.
I'm sorry.
Freed-Hardeman.
Sharon Henry.
Okay.
And Bill Perry. Yeah.
I don't
okay.
remember anybody really. Not really. And I'm so sorry. There's a few people that I did radio with because I started working in radio when I was there. And I was the first female class president in the history of the college, but I was also the worst. I always have to kind of,
How do you get the distinction of being the worst? Was that bestowed upon you by your peers, or that's just a self?
No, it's self-determining because I only did it just to prove. Okay,
there's a big difference between whether they say it or whether you say it.
I say it. I was terrible.
All right.
I was terrible. If it weren't for the fact that I had a wonderful vice president who she ran things and just did it, she showed up when I didn't, and then she was president the next year. She should have been
I had one of those.
First.
I was class president and
she was just amazing. And but the thing was, it was that whole adage of the girls weren't allowed to do anything. And I have always felt called into ministry. I've always felt called to more than I've always felt called by God, by the Lord, to do things that I was told I could not do. And I'm not a women's liberal. I'm not a feminist. We're very, very different. But I believe when it comes to the kingdom, we are equal. And that is something that I just am struggling with, trying to help people understand. And I'm going to figure out a way to present the things that are in my spirit that I know the Lord's got something that he wants me to share, and get ready.
Well, good luck with that. The church has struggled with that for 2,000 years.
For a long time. And it's, and for heaven's sakes, Jesus, came in, and I don't know, we're not going to go down that road. We got our state senator here, and
Dean Duke.
That's the reason why I was a terrible president, because I was just proving to him I could do it.
Dean Duke. Did you know Dean Duke?
I think.
He owns a radio station in Waverly.
Oh,
and
I'm sure
he went
probably
free,
did.
and you guys probably were there at the same time.
Probably were there at the same time. That sounds familiar. That sounds familiar. It doesn't. It kind of rings a bell, but because I was the news person, and I rock.
Well, when he's on the air, he's Austin somebody. I don't know, but he's Dean Duke in real life, and then he's Austin.
Probably knew him, but yeah, that's where the whole radio thing started. So doing news. So there you go. I thought I was going to be, the news person behind the news desk, and again, the Lord had different plans for me.
U-turn LaVern. Who thought of U-turn LaVern?
A listener. I had guys I worked with that tried to, they're like, oh, we came up with it. It's like, no, you didn't. Because I had too many people tell me they were listening the morning that I was supposed to be just a fill-in. And it was at the same time we had Traffic Jim over at KDF and all this. And it was kind of a trend to have somebody nicknamed. And so they had just called me over the weekend because I just started opening the mic in Nashville because I had pestered the heck out of them. And so they let me work on Christmas Day for the first time as a disc jockey. And then they're like, hey, that's pretty good. LaVern, do you think you could do traffic? I'm like, absolutely. So I spent the weekend trying to figure out how to do traffic. I listened to Richard Thomas, to see, what he did. Started calling dispatch. I think I'm one of the first one that started calling the dispatchers on the non-emergency number and just said, hey, here's what I'm doing. What can you tell me? And I had this great relationship. There's several of the dispatchers to this day that'll talk about, I used to bring them T-shirts and pizza and all kinds of things, anything I could get from the station to go and just love on the dispatchers. And they would sometimes even call me with stuff, and I would monitor. And so that's how I stayed on top of it before we had cameras. And I was on the air probably the first day or two because I was going to fill in for a week. And Stephen Wesley, Bridgewater, and Ogden, that was back in the Class FM days.
Oh, wow.
And they were like, we got to come up with a nickname for her. And somebody called in. They said it was a woman called and said, why don't you call her U-turn LaVern? And they're like, and it's that the rest is his story. I ran into Moose from Jack FM this weekend. I was walking into Walmart out in Mount Juliet going to see my grandkids, play ball. And I walk in and I hear U-turn. And I look up and there's Moose. I don't know if he was from the early days of The Rock. And then they hired him over at Jack FM, and he's still there.
Wow.
And he's just an awesome friend. But yeah,
radio has changed so much.
Oh my, oh yes. But I'm glad I still get to keep my toe in the water here at 1100 WSGI, and we do this thing 7 to 8 a.m. so you know what's going on in the community. And I'm going to talk about this in a minute. I talked to Tiffany Thompson. Going to try to get her in here this week. Got to confirm that with her. But this is a fundraiser for my father's house, April 26th, Sunday, 6 to 8 p.m. It's Nashville Praise Symphony and Concert. They say this is phenomenal. And I've heard some really cool things about this. And she gave me this flyer when we were there seeing the big marquee get lit.
Well, I would look at it if you'd hold it in my direction.
So I'll let you look at
Is
it.
it going to be?
Senator,
Is it going to be at Springfield Baptist Church?
I'll have to look on there and see. It's a fundraiser for
It
my
just says
father's
hosted
house.
by, so I assume
Sure, that's
where
where
it will
it'll be. I've like I said, Tiffany and I are trying to hone in. Lee Marie had wanted to know if my 7 o'clock is open this Thursday, and I was going to try to get Tiffany in. That's who I had talked to about it. So we don't know. I don't know. But today we have Senator Kerry Roberts. Tomorrow Mayor Vogel will be in because spring break was last week. They held off the county commissioners meeting to tonight. And so Mayor Vogel will be in here, and Lord willing, and that he feels good and all that good stuff, and we'll get him in here. But then Wednesday, we've got a full hour with our Veterans Service Office because this weekend we're honoring our Vietnam veterans with a service out at Springfield Memorial Gardens with the candlelight vigil on Friday night, and then the program on Saturday, which I am honored to host this year. And so there you go. So there's a lot going on.
That's this weekend. How do I not know about these things?
I need to call you and just give you my calendar, and you need to talk to.
Let me just tell you,
Marie.
Let me tell you something. This is something
she does the Go Show, and she stays on top of it.
I'm going to tell you something that's kind of annoying to me. Okay. And not specific to this, but everybody relies on Facebook anymore. Some people don't like Facebook.
Have you got Instagram or anything like that?
No, I don't have social media, and that's
social media is you honestly, I fought like a tiger to not go on social media, and whenever I don't know who made me, but I had at some point an employer that said you've got to have a social media presence because that's how we communicate, and all of that. And it may have been at Payne Chevy, if I'm not mistaken, because I went there right after my dad died. I was trying to get grounded, and they let me land there for about a year. And I think they were, because they were wanting to use the whole, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought I had that on silent. But so they wanted me to sell cars as U-Turn LaVern. I was like, I don't care, sure. And I don't care about cars, though. I was like, and I told Steve Russell, I was like, I don't care anything about cars. But it's like, oh, it'll be fun. It's like, okay. But they're awesome people. It just wasn't my thing. But I think they're the ones who had me get on social media for the first time. But now that I'm there, I mean, it's just where you message, and you have to. I was looking at something last night after Chuck Norris passed, and there was an AI talking about all the greats, like all these action heroes came together to honor Chuck Norris, and too many people were sharing it. And it's like, do you not see clearly that that's fake, that somebody built that through AI? But you got to just pay so much attention. But anyhow, but yes, all kinds of wonderful things. And you can go and look at social media and find the things. If you go just look at my page, look at Lee Marie's page. She has a great calendar.
You don't understand. I've got like probably 5 weeks of unreturned phone calls.
Oh, I know.
I don't have time to.
You don't have time to do all that.
I mean, everybody's busy, and I don't mean to sound wrong, but what's
you're in the
hard
you're
is
in session too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 18-hour days, and you just you've got to seek that stuff out, and it would be so helpful. Right. We go to things when we get invited to go. But then we go someplace and someone says, "Oh, I didn't see it at such and such place." It's like, I didn't know. And it's not, and it's like, well, I told Kumar. Well, it's not Kumar's job to tell me that something's going on a Friday night, and we don't see each other. I mean, I don't ever see him. I mean, people think because he's the rep and I'm the senator that we see each other if we happen to be at the same place at the same time. But so I do run into that a lot where people say, well, I told him, and it's like, well, it's not his job to tell me, and that's not fair to expect him to do that. He's got his own, constituents to deal with, not, manage my social calendar. So it is very helpful when people reach out to the office and let us know.
I'll see if there's something, because Lee Marie keeps a running calendar. Maybe I can get her to start sending that somewhere for you. Lee Marie, I think she's on because she just sent me the stuff because in association with, not this one, but the stuff going on for Vietnam vets, there was a poker run and a community fun run happening.
Yeah,
there are
but
fundraisers on that Saturday morning before the event.
But here's the thing. This is really important.
Okay.
It has to be emailed to I can't tell you the number of people that text me stuff. It's like people text me about a bill.
Yeah.
Vote for this, vote for that. It's like, are you kidding me? I mean, how in the world do you want me to sit there in committee the whole time, just look at my phone? And so
it needs to be on email so you can pull it up on your computer.
So it can be printed out, so it can be added, so it can be whatever. But it's like a bill is a great example. It is. There's one person in particular that texts me all the time about a bill. Well, first of all, I'm sorry, I'm sounding like I'm complaining. I don't mean to, but
these are
like
things that we need to know to help.
You can't. So here's the thing: if it gets emailed to the office, it gets printed out, and like you have a calendar. So in committee, so you have 50 bills in committee, okay,
right.
and so there is a folder. So item number 25. Here are the emails that we got, or here what the lobbyist for, the lobbyist against. Here's what if it's firearms bill. Here's what the TFA had to say about it, and it's all right there. So when that bill is being considered, everything's there. I've also got my iPad, so I can go and I can see. Here, I'll show you this. This isn't going to.
So you keep this pretty much with you during session?
Oh, you have to. Okay. It's indispensable. Okay, look at this. There are 474 unread emails right now. Okay, which is small. Believe it or not, you got 474. I mean, that's we can clear them all out. And look at the junk, 1533. Okay, look at this junk email. These are all bills. You see this junk?
Yeah.
It's all bills. Why would these be going to junk? Because these are people who signed up on something, and it's just pounding us with email. So look at the date on all these. So these are all things that I got. Now scroll down here. Look at how we did folders. We did folders for every bill. What is this bill that CVS has everybody worked up about? That's kind of stupid. Do you know what I'm talking about? I should know by 2040. I get all this CVS. The sky is falling. We're going to go out of business. Your drug prices are.
Something about.
Okay. Here you go. Look.
Your local.
Look.
I can't remember. I saw.
Okay.
Something
Here it is right here. Okay. I keep. The internet keeps. Your phone. Does your phone not work here or something? I keep losing the internet.
Does, but yeah.
Okay. I can't. It's on that it's off, and it's like I'm not connected, and then I am.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't know.
So what happens is, first of all, let me just tell you this: there are two sides to every story. Didn't we all learn that somewhere in life?
Yes.
So when CVS is pounding you with a email saying we're going to go out of business, what is CVS really saying?
That
let's put our thinking caps on here for a minute. If CVS is sending you an email saying the sky is falling,
they're trying to.
What's really going on?
I don't know. I don't know where you're going.
They're trying to protect their profits.
Well, yeah. Okay,
yeah.
I'm
mean,
sorry.
come on.
Let's. Going that obvious. It's like okay.
Let's be super obvious.
Okay.
They're upset because they think they're not going to make more money. Okay. Now, generally speaking, if CVS is not making more money, who is saving money?
Us.
Okay, us. All right. So look at these thousands of emails because CVS is whipping everybody into a frenzy. Now, is the bill, and I'm sorry, I can't, but see, look. I'm just scrolling, and it's can't even download them all. Yeah. It's all from this. So the point is that when we get to this bill, we can see who sent us email, who didn't send us email. But you see all these, okay, every now and then somebody customizes them. Brother Roberts, dear Kerry Roberts, as an employee of CVS and one of your constituents. And so they're all variations of a theme, and some of these have been customized. Now, here's my point. My point is, I've seen a lot of commercials. Okay, here's somebody. It's like this girl sends me emails all the time. Good morning. I've seen a lot of commercials about this bill saying it will have a negative impact on pharmacies like CVS or Walgreens and could cause closures. What are the main benefits and possible side effects of this bill? I know myself and a lot of other people use CVS and Walgreens, and the commercials are very concerning. I don't know how to answer that. First of all, guess what? This may shock you, but there is a difference between somebody filing a bill and us having a bill to vote on.
Right.
So until there are, 1,500 bills that get filed every year, some of them are just total nonsense. So until they're scheduled for a vote, I don't know. First of all, I don't know. And I mean, well, when it comes for a vote, and I'm sounding very negative today, I'm sorry, but you wait until it comes for a vote.
And then that's when you have to take
That's when you look at it. That's when you read it. Because what if somebody just filed something because they want it? What if they're mad at CVS?
Yeah.
And they filed a bill to get everybody worked up, about this or whatever the case might be, or they're whatever they're trying to do. So basically, the way the process works is people file a bill, and the bill gets out there, the public reacts, and I don't really respond to that reaction until I know what the sponsor is going to do with the bill. And if the sponsor actually intends to run the bill, trust me when I say CVS, who has hired every lobbyist known to mankind, has descended on this legislator's office to say, what are you doing here? This is how this is going to impact us, and we don't like your bill, and we want you to change it. And the sponsor of the bill can tell them to pound sand, or the sponsor of the bill can say, okay, I'll work with you on this, and they'll work it out. So what ends up getting filed versus what ends up being brought forward to a vote ends up being entirely different. Okay, now do you understand why I say I'm not going to read the bill until we have it, until the sponsor says, and furthermore, and we have a committee process, so that bill's got to go through the health committee, and guess what? I'm not on the health committee. So what we do is we spend our time on the bills in front of the committee that we're on.
Right.
So those bills that are on Judiciary Committee, those are the ones that I'm spending time on. The State and Local Committee, these are the Education Committee. These are the bills that, as a legislator, you spend your time on, what's in the committee.
Right.
And then after it comes out of the committee and it goes to the Senate floor, you spend time on those. So the CVS bill, what does it do? What does it say? The explanation from the sponsor, who sits right beside me on the Senate floor, who is a pharmacist, is entirely different than the explanation that CVS is giving.
Oh, of course. So how much longer are y'all in session?
Too long.
Well, do you think that
it lasts till about the end of April? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure what he's going to do.
Yeah, because it's got to go through committee.
The goal of that. Let me tell you. The goal of the bill is to save people money.
Very good.
That's the goal of the bill. Now, is he going to be able to accomplish that?
Yeah.
If he does, it will be over the objections of CVS. But
because CVS is going to end up.
So here's the thing. But let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. How ethical is it? Why are all these people getting worked up? Because they heard from CVS.
They're like, hey, this could hurt your job. That's, to me, it almost sounds like it came down from a corporate thing. You need to write.
How did CVS get your email address?
Well, if you work for them, because some of them.
No.
Because you use them.
Okay. Yeah. Is there not some kind of violation of federal law here that they are using your HIPAA-protected email address for political purposes? They've been. I don't know this is true, but I think somebody said they got sued in another state for that.
I can be honest with you, though. There's so much the stuff that you go. Do you agree that you can, there's so much of that where I hesitate to give out my email, my phone number, and things like that, and I still get bombarded. And I'm super
everybody ought to have a junk email.
Yeah.
And that's what you.
Well, if I have a junk email, I don't check it. I never look at it, and so I don't want to give that out. And for any, so I have my primary email. It's LaVern at LaVernVivio.com. Everything comes there, and I just filter through it. But I just. That's the thing. There's probably something within the CVS, conglomerate that you sign up for something, and there's a little box you have to check to do something online because we're all so digital now. Because I do everything. I mean, we're such a digital society, But do you carry cash anymore, or are you completely digital? I like to ask that question to people. Do you keep cash, or are you a digital person?
Okay, this is not fair because I do have cash.
You have cash.
But I don't normally, but I'm gonna show you. This is normally all I have.
Oh, how funny!
Okay. Can I tell you a story about this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, see that?
So it's a heart dollar. I have my son, who is a clinical counselor, is very big into origami, and he will do when somebody's talking, there'll be something that will relate that he can make.
Yeah.
And he'll make it for them while he's counseling them and then give it to them. It's so special. But he's really into this stuff. So I see all kinds of fascinating things. But yes, so give me the story behind this cute little heart dollar.
I have a dollar bill that's for those who are listening and not watching. I have a dollar bill that's been folded into a heart. And the story of that, our daughter started doing that at some point in time, and she started out doing gum wrappers.
Oh yes.
Right? And so I would have little hearts that I would walk into the parlor in the morning for my quiet time. There'd be like a little heart on my Bible or something like that. So I would collect the hearts from her, and but the special story is not about that heart. When my father passed away in 2014, okay. Mm-hmm. So we were at the funeral home up in Indiana, and so we'd gone through his. They'd done it at the service at the funeral home, not at the church, and so we were at that point where visitation was over, and they're going to close the casket, right, and then roll it out for the service. So they've invited the family to come in. So the grandkids had their moment. And then I have an older brother and an older sister and my mom. So the four of us walk over to the casket, and there in my dad's hands are, how they put them across your heart and everything. Okay, in my dad's hands is a little heart, and I knew exactly where that came from. It was Nora. So the last thing I saw from my dad when they closed his casket was a little heart that Nora had put in his hands.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And so anyway, so she would do that. So at one point in time, we were, I don't know, we'd gone to some restaurant or something, and there was change left. We'd pay cash. Like we go to Moe's at Opry Mills a lot after church on Sunday, and if we'd pay for cash and we'd get cash back, they would snatch it out of our hands. The kids. So anyway, so that is normally the only dollar that I carry, but I just happen to have, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have cash right now, because I married somebody and they handed me a little bit of cash on the way out the door.
Oh, okay.
So I can marry people.
Oh, so you performed a marriage. Okay, I thought you meant that Diane's like, hey, I married somebody that says you need some cash, honey.
No.
I took that wrong. So you performed a wedding ceremony.
I got a phone call on Friday the 13th. This is ominous. And somebody said, hey, can you do a wedding? I said, yeah, I can do a wedding. And I said, who? Me. And I said, so as a friend of mine, you know who it is. It's Jimmy Stevens in Humphreys County, who was the chairman of do you know him, Humphreys County GOP?
I'm sure I probably know him, but.
His wife had passed away and a couple of years ago, and it's a crazy story. He reconnected with a woman whose husband had passed away, and these two couples had known each other since when they all got married. In
how
fact,
fun.
when Jimmy and his wife had gone on their honeymoon, you know, many years ago, they actually spent a night with this lady and her husband.
Oh, how funny.
Okay. So Reed had passed away, and Gladys's husband had passed away. And so Jimmy and Gladys reconnected. They hadn't seen each other in years. And so here Jimmy's calling me saying, I want to get married. When do you want to get married? How about tomorrow? It's Valentine's Day. And I just thought, and I didn't know who Gladys was, and I didn't know he was.
Weekend,
Yeah.
right?
So we were like, oh my goodness, what is this? A gold digger, you know, trying to get his money or something like that. So I didn't ask too many questions. I just kind of trusted his judgment, and they showed up at our house on Saturday.
And it was Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it was actually Valentine's Day.
13th, you got the
Yeah,
call.
yeah, I got the call the day
now
before.
I'm
So
with
it
you.
was Saturday on Valentine's Day, and so he showed up with Gladys, and this was great. He had his sons with him, and it was family approved wedding, and so we just went out to the gazebo and we did the wedding, and that was kind of neat. So
That's hysterical.
I don't normally have cash unless, you know, I married somebody. I
Mayor
guess.
Vogel talks about that he does he will do weddings.
Yeah.
And he said the funniest one that ever happened was he was cleaning out a fence row. He was cleaning out a fence row, and a couple came and found him, said, "Hey, can you marry us?"
Oh, that's crazy.
Okay. He was cleaning out a fence row, and it's just.
Well, you know who else marries a lot of people is Bob Hogan.
Really?
Do you know that? Yeah. So Bob, you know, Bob Hogan, who many people listening know who he is. He does a lot of weddings. He does a lot of weddings.
Huh. Okay.
Sure does. Okay, I want to go.
Let's get down to business. Senator Kerry Roberts is here, and took us a half hour to say hi.
Yeah.
But we did talk about the
that's okay.
CVS thing, and also the big takeaway from this first part of our conversation, if you need to get something to Senator Roberts, you need to email it to him. What is your email?
Well, it's
How would they,
too
would they
it's
just
too
go through the government?
it's too much. I mean, no one's gonna be
just
sitting here and
use
write it down.
gov?
It's long. What you do is this: you go to capital.tn.gov.
Okay.
CAPITOL.
Capital.tn.gov,
Yeah.
and then look up you.
And that's the General Assembly website.
Okay,
And you just
okay.
click on members and you look me up, and that's the easiest thing to do. And you can either email me or you can email Bailey. Now, let me help people understand a little bit about the way this process works. We're in session from January to the end of April.
Okay.
Let me put this in terms everybody can relate to. Everybody understands how busy April 15th is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So imagine 4 months of April 15th. 18-hour days, nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting bombarded from a lot of different directions, dissimilar things, like this meeting for 15 minutes is about this topic. Then the next meeting for 15 minutes is about something entirely different. The next meeting is something entirely different. And then on top of that, you've got to go to committee and be prepared for committee. And then you've got your own bills to present. So there are multiple committees in the Tennessee Senate. Most of us are on 3 committees, and I'm on the Judiciary Committee, which is probably one of the most time-consuming committees.
Oh, yeah.
I'm also on the Education Committee. I'm also on what's called the State and Local Committee. So we get about 1,500 bills filed every year. And those 1,500 bills, the sponsor of the bill will have to make a decision whether or not they want that bill to be heard, which is why people can get all worked up about something that got filed, where a legislator's just trying to make a point. And then we end up, because of email, and this is where email and social media do not help. We get inundated with people wanting responses on something that maybe is not going to go anyplace whatsoever.
Right.
So,
It's going to sit there.
yes.
Yeah.
So during this, January 1st to the end of April, email plays a critical role of people communicating with the office. The problem with it is is it's sometimes based on what somebody said on Facebook and not real life. And we're really not in a position to respond to it. Now, let me ask you a question. I've got one assistant and I've got one intern. Okay. They could literally spend the entire time that they're there responding to email and not do anything else.
Right.
Responding to email where people are worked up about something that may not even have any relation to reality whatsoever. Okay. Is that how you want your taxpayer dollars being used?
Not
okay.
really.
So people get upset. I emailed you. Sorry, I just slammed that through the microphone. I emailed you. You didn't respond, or whatever. Well, that I understand, and I'm sorry for that, but that's the way it works. So the question then is, all right, so if you're getting several hundred or even several, and sometimes it could be several thousand emails in a day. Right. So if somebody had some big campaign or something, we could get several thousand in a day. So do I do email or do I not? Yeah, you do email, because here's what the intern does. Every morning he goes in and he creates new rules based on what's coming in. And he gets everything sorted by the Senate bill, by the meeting request, by the whatever. So he does that. And then Bailey, my assistant, will then work through it for what needs to be responded to. I literally don't sit down and type answers to emails because I can't. I mean, I'm in front of people. I mean, we got my day is nonstop with meetings. Right. Because also while we're in legislative session, the Farm Bureau wants to have their day on the Hill. The first responders want to have their day on the Hill. The homeschoolers want to have their day on the Hill.
They want a tour.
Yeah, and
right.
I mean, yeah, and then which I don't do during session, but and then somebody will get upset that I don't do that. We've got 4-H, we've got FFA, we've got literally every day that we're up there, somebody's got a day on the Hill, and so the schedule gets booked pretty quickly. So what's kind of funny is not everybody gets a meeting, simply because there's more requests than there are time slots. And so people get turned away. But sometimes people will come in my office and they'll say, I've been coming up here for 3 or 4 years and I've tried to get a meeting with you every year and I hadn't been able to, and I'm so glad I was able to get a meeting. And that happens. Yeah. Okay. And so then when they're in the office and they have the meeting, they go, and now I get it. Now I understand why. It's like, how in the world do you, listen to us about our topic and then the next 15 minutes? And I just say, well, I kind of jokingly refer to them as bobblehead meetings, where you just sit there, nod your head, and you do your best to retain everything you can. Yeah. But it helps. Here's what I'm getting at. When people come to the meeting with all this stuff in writing. Yeah. Oh, man, it's such a blessing, because then you have it and you can put it where it needs to be put. So if this is a bill that's going to be heard in judiciary, we can put it with the judiciary stuff. If this is a bill that's going to be heard on the Senate floor, we can put it with that stuff. And then, when you're preparing for that, you have a chance to see all that stuff. So kind of getting, seeing the way this stuff works, but it's not, people judge things by what they're used to. And the average person, might get 20 emails a day, maybe. I mean, I don't know what that number is. And they think, well, that's manageable because most of them are junk and I just delete them, and then I've got 2 or 3 that I really need to respond to. I mean, that's just not true. I mean, if I sat down and thought, I mean, I feel bad all the time because they're people that I know and they've emailed me, and I mean, what do you do? Because I'm seeing it, and now so-and-so's walking in the door. And what do you do? And so you just, to some extent, you just hope for a whole lot of grace that people just get it. And it's especially tough when you like I got a text message the other day, hey, are you going to be able to come to the YMCA's, dinner on Tuesday?
You're like, what?
And it's like, I would love to do that. But guess what? We may still be in Judiciary Committee till, 7 or 8 o'clock. And And I don't know that you want me anywhere after I've sat in judiciary for 5 or 6 hours. I'm probably not in a very good mood.
Yeah.
I mean, just all the nonsense that you deal with. And so, I got to tell you something. We spend a lot of time this is what happens a lot of times. People say, well, there ought to be a law. There ought to be a law. And so they go to a legislator, and their legislator files a bill for whatever it is. And then we sit there and contemplate it. Let me just tell you something. Tennessee has more rules and regulations than the state of Michigan. Red state, blue state.
They're a blue state.
Yeah,
Michigan.
we're a red state. They're a blue state.
So we should have less.
Yeah, we have a lot more.
We should have less.
We have a lot more. And you know why we have a lot more? We have a lot more because all these legislators, I kid you not, this is a true story. A few years ago, I had a legislator come to me before bill filing deadline, and she said, hey, do you have a bill I can file? And I said, no, but why do you need a bill to file? And she said, I want to look like I'm doing something.
Ooh.
Okay, now let me give you a great example.
Right.
Let me give you a great example. A few years ago, we had this tragic situation where a young kid got killed from a moving vehicle.
Mm.
So the parents lobbied the legislator to, we don't want that to ever happen again. We don't want that to ever happen again. So the solution was, it's already illegal to kill somebody, right? So now it's going to be more illegal if you do it from a moving car. What do I mean by that? They wanted a sentence enhancement. You go to jail longer, in other words. Okay? Because if you go to jail longer, then nobody will ever do this again. Okay, now let's just apply the common sense test to this. Can you already go to jail for life for killing someone?
Yeah.
Can you even be subject to the death penalty for killing someone in Tennessee? Yeah. Okay. So why is it that whether you're doing it from a moving car or stationary, why should it matter? And tell me exactly how that's going to stop gang violence.
Right.
Do you think the typical gangbanger says, hey, U-turn, stop the car while I pop this guy?
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm going to have to go to jail longer if I get caught.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a conversation ever in the history of mankind that conversation has happened? And by the way, doesn't it stand to reason that if you're doing it from a moving vehicle, you're probably not really thinking about it, but if you say stop the car and let me out, you want to make sure your aim is good?
Yeah.
Okay? And you're saying the guy who just fires out from a window, he's got to go to jail for longer than the person who does it from the street corner. I mean, that's just, to me, I'm sorry.
Murder.
But so what happens is the mom comes in, she gives testimony. It's heartbreaking. She lost her 12-year-old child, for crying out loud. I mean, that is just a tragedy that is got everybody in tears, and it's emotional, and it is heartbreaking. Okay. But does it, should we be passing a law to do that? No, we shouldn't have. And that's what we've done over and over and over and over again. So a lot of what we sit there and listen through in judiciary is, well, I'm a this. If I get assaulted, then somebody should go to jail longer because I'm just doing my job. Nurses, doctors, first responders, they all want people to go to jail longer because they got assaulted. Okay? So who's next? The census taker, the door-to-door salesperson? You know what? You get what I'm saying? And I'm not unsympathetic at all. But at what point in time do you say, we need to stop looking like we're doing something? You know what we need to look like we're doing? We need to look like we're saying no.
Right.
And that you could stack up all of Tennessee code, and you'd stack their green books, you'd stack it all the way to the ceiling. And you would think, if it really worked, that you passed a law and people stopped doing stuff, our prisons in Tennessee would be empty because we've got a law for everything.
Well, it's the big argument that people about gun control. You can put all kinds of gun control in place, but it does not affect the people who are going to do it
LaVern.
illegally.
LaVern.
Huh?
Okay, here's the thing. What's the difference between someone who owns a gun responsibly and someone who does not?
It's a criminal. Me. Yeah.
The human heart.
Right. Exactly. Okay.
So we sat here
Okay.
and passed the Charlie Kirk Act.
Right.
Charlie Kirk Act basically says, it doesn't require it, but it just says, guess what, schools? You are allowed to teach the history of religion in America and how it has shaped and influenced. And so I sat there and listened to the Democrats argue against it over and over and over again. And I thought, oh, but if this was a law, you know, to ban guns forevermore, you'd be all on it. Nobody wants to talk about the condition of the human heart. And so what they want to do is they want to fight tooth and nail any teaching that addresses the human heart,
Mm-hmm.
unless, of course, it's their ideology. So they're all upset about the 10 Commandments. And I just said, why didn't somebody stand up and say, okay, if we can't do the 10 Commandments and you can't do a pride flag,
Yeah.
what's the difference
Mm-hmm.
if that's your argument?
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference if that's your argument? If you're going to sit there and worship something, what you tell me, if that's your argument,
Mm-hmm.
then what's the difference? And so, at some point in time, I'm feeling like an epic speech on the Senate floor is coming one of these days. But here's the thing. We're doing all this stuff and we're not addressing the problem.
Yeah.
When I did business consulting, this is what I'd always ask a CEO, always ask. They'd sit there and talk about their problem. And I'd say, okay, answer this. What has to change for things to change?
Mm.
You just tell me what that fundamental thing is, because we get all caught up in this initiative, that initiative. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And guess what? The one thing that needed to change hasn't changed. What's the one thing that needs to change? Well, people who love Jesus
Mm-hmm.
don't kill people,
Mm-hmm.
don't steal, don't lie, don't cheat,
Mm-hmm.
don't,
Yeah.
keep adding to the list, right? And all these laws that we have that bind the way we do contracts, that bind the way we interact with people, that bind our behavior and stuff like that. Guess what? Somebody who loves Jesus doesn't need all that stuff.
Amen.
And so what we're sitting here doing, saying, well, we need to pass another law. What needs to change for things to change? We have so denied our history.
Mm-hmm.
We've so ignored our history that we've completely lost sight of what happened when people obeyed God and what happened when they didn't. Why? Because, you get liberals today that just say, oh, well, those are all interesting stories, but it's all, that's just one religion.
Right.
That's mythology. That's the Christian tradition.
Mm-mm.
What about the Muslims? What about the Hindus? What about the Buddhist? What about whatever? Okay, what do you believe in? Because last time I checked, the historic figure of Jesus Christ is not part of the Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim tradition. And what makes it all unique? What makes it all unique is that Christians claim that Jesus Christ literally rose from the dead. And let me tell you something. If you go to one of these Christian churches that doubt that, you're in the wrong place.
Oh, yeah.
You're in the wrong place. Because just stop and think through it. What happens? What is your hope?
That we will do the same. That we've already conquered it, because that we're living in.
Okay, so if you don't believe that God did that 2,000 years ago, then explain to me why you think God is going to do it sometime in the future.
Right.
So here's the thing. We have gotten to the point where we've allowed ourselves to be shamed so much and forgive me to my Democrat friends who are listening, because this is coming from your party. And by the way, to anyone in my party, sometimes we need to look in the mirror too.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now, and I want to be abundantly clear about that. So we don't get a pass because, we're so they're not trying to hide what they're doing, and but we're just as guilty. We just, we put up a feeble protest, but then we don't do anything about it. And so anyway, and people say, I don't know.
Like, how many times have you heard somebody, and I heard this in media all the time, and I could tell you some names that I heard it from all the time, and it broke my heart because they would say, well, I'm a Christian, or I believe in God, but I don't wear it on my sleeve. I don't do this. I don't do that. Well, that's what we're commanded to do. We're called to write it on our foreheads and make sure people know, because if we don't confess before man who Christ is and that he is our
Let me
Lord,
ask you a question.
he won't confess us.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Before God.
Okay.
I'm going to have to do a break, but go ahead and ask the question.
People say this all the people, we hear this stuff all the time, but let me ask you a question. Okay, is that what you want to leave behind for your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids? That I was a good CEO, I was a good teacher, I was a good this, or do you want to leave behind? Wow.
Wow.
He loved Jesus.
The wow.
Yeah. That's what.
That's the only legacy.
Yeah. I mean, I've got this buddy of mine. Yeah. That's he won't talk That's he's a CEO. It's like, you think your friends care about that? Your kids care about that? I mean, they would care a lot more if you imparted eternal wisdom and eternal values to them. I mean, you're just teaching them how to be a better, business person, and that's great. They need to be a good business person. But why? So you make a lot of money? They're not.
It's worthless in the end. I mean, it's absolutely worthless. And that's one thing. We grew up in an era when during the flower child era and the Jesus freak and the Jesus Christ superstar and all this kind of thing, and there was a persona in our childhood, I don't know if you remember this or not, that if you started saying too much about your faith and Christ, and it's a Jesus freak. Well, then the song came out. What would people
say if they knew that I was a Jesus freak? Yeah.
And so we, started. I can remember one of my nieces up north. Yes, one of my nieces up north. She'd go riding around with us. The kids were little, and we would be driving around up in Michigan, blasting that. And she goes, "I thought y'all were so weird," but now she's a big old Jesus freak herself. But we weren't encouraged to really, be bold about it. Now, I mean, we would go door knocking and all that, and you would keep it in the confines of the church as an organization. But then when you got out and about, I mean, we weren't just, taught to really, share it like we are now, I think. I believe that have gotten more bold again.
I'm not sure that knocking on anybody's door is the answer now.
Oh, no, you can't. We've tried. I've been part of some programs. Then people don't come to the door.
No, live your life. And the thing about it is, look, none of us are perfect, and that's another thing that we have to get over. The church is populated with imperfect people in need of a Savior, and I know we want to show up on Sunday and pretend that everything is okay, and that ultimately hurts our witness because we know it's not true.
Yes.
We know it's not true. And so we show up on Sunday and we have this moment where we all get to pretend that everything is great, and it's not great. And we do have fears. We do. I mean, do you know how many times in Scripture it says, "Do not fear"? Why? Because
that's one of our
fear so much, right? Yeah, we're so afraid. And so I don't know. The thing is that we got to figure this out, because it's not that we are anyone who spent 5 minutes with me knows that I'm, far from perfect person and far from perfect person. But that doesn't, so why should that matter? I mean, for crying out loud, doesn't that mean that I should rejoice that much more that I have a Savior that overlooks, or forgives me of of my imperfections and my weaknesses and all the things that I struggle with. I mean, that's I guess we decided that you got to be perfect before you can share Jesus, and that's what a disservice that does to the world, because last time I checked, none of us are perfect, and the ones that are acting that they are perfect are, generally speaking, the ones that are destined for a fall.
Well, that's why we love Bobby Davis, is because he's so real, and that's the preacher up at Life Church up in Cookeville.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what we talk about at Celebrate Recovery too. You know, I'm involved with some Celebrate Recovery programs, including the one at Madison that meets on Wednesday night. But that's what we talk about, is being real and being real in the church. And it's not just for people with chemical and alcohol addiction. That's about 30% of the people who come to Celebrate Recovery. The other 70% are just dealing with life stuff. And I mean everything, the spectrum from abusive relationships to spending too much money to working too much to
having your nose glued in your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people who are addicted to these things. I talk to people who are addicted to gambling, to porn addictions. I mean, that's a huge one. It is foretelling. I got to do a break, Senator. Senator Kerry Roberts is here, and we love talking to him. And, you know, this has been a good way to unpack how to contact your senator and how to do it and how to package it. And I think that's been very good. I mean, I do.
And if I sound negative, I'm sorry.
No, but I think that's super beneficial to let people know when you're in session, you need to go to the government website and send it,
And you can follow, but it's a great website. You can track bills and you can see what's going on with them.
What's going on and everything. But let's talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. I saw that house that we were checking out. They had a really nice house that was up in the Cross Plains area. It's sold. You got to get on this stuff. No, it's in Cottontown. It's in Cottontown is where it was. And, but you've got to get on these properties, because when they come up and it's something you're interested in, it can go really quick. Now, some will sit there. It's kind of a weird market right now. They say it's really a buyer's market. There's a little more inventory out there, but it's, we came through spring break. A lot of people are starting to make the decision to get their property ready to sell, and they want to move, they want to shift, they want to do something different. And so things are starting to heat up. So if you see a property that you're interested in, you better not wait, because it will be gone. If you have a property that you're wanting to sell, talk to Barry and Rebecca, number one, about what is the market analysis. You don't want to price it higher than what people can get a loan to purchase it for. If you've got it priced too high, they're not going to be able to get a loan to secure that property. So you got to make sure all those things are in line. If you're coming to the table to buy, you want to make sure that you know how much you're qualified to buy. And if you want to be a realtor, they're great to mentor you into the real estate game. Barry's got an office now. He's a broker, and he has an office right in downtown. If you can go by and see him. And then Rebecca has her agency office up in White House. Together, they're part of the Exit Prime Realty, a new branch in the Exit tree. Still the same great company she's been with for nearly 20 years. She really vetted them to make sure she had a company that was going to do everything she needed it to do as a realtor, and she found it. Now, if you want to contact them, Google them, Barry Richards, Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty, or you can go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, robertsoncounty.com, or you can call them 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, or 7424, and you'll get Barry and Rebecca Richards. Exit Prime Realty, our longest running full-time sponsor, and when you talk to them, let them know U-Turn sent you. Senator Kerry Roberts, parting thoughts on everything with the legislature. Do you think you'll be able to make it back next month?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Then that'll be right at the end of the session.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. Anything exciting for education? You know, anything that since you're on the education committee, anything you can
Well,
share?
we talked the other day about just some, like another example is homeschoolers worked about something that's not.
And it's been,
Yeah.
I'll send you what I found, but it's like there is a, what is it? Tennessee Conservatives is who it is.
Oh
it's
my,
like,
don't send me anything from him. Let me just tell you.
I'll just tell you, it's a bunch of stuff, and it's a bunch of pictures of legislatures and
I'm just going to tell you right now, if you go to their website, don't waste your time. The guy, just don't. I refuse to have anything to do with them.
Yeah.
Notice that 100% of their criticism is of conservatives. What does that tell you?
That they're not conservative.
Where's their money coming from?
Yeah.
Duh.
They're trying to pretend to be conservatives and they're not.
This is like, you know,
That's what I looked at.
everybody
I'm glad you
talks
pointed
about
that out. I
like
was
George
looking at that and I'm like,
Soros, you know, George Soros funding these things. And it's like, okay, if you call yourself a conservative website and all you do is blast conservatives,
you might not be
you
conservative.
who follow the money. Where's the money coming from?
Super good point.
How are you getting paid? So don't
point.
send me anything of theirs. I don't have any. I won't talk to them. They do clickbait for headlines.
Oh, yeah,
They
it's all
don't
it
have-
is.
It's
I've
not
had
real reporting.
I found
it's
a bunch of stuff
joke.
from them after I asked you about it because they had used a picture of you. And not an awesome picture either, you know. It's not one you'd be like, oh yeah, I want that one out there. But you know what I'm saying? It was just to, like you said.
Hey, you
and
know
there's
what?
Several
Here's the thing.
legislatures that they did just like you.
And they're stuck with me maybe for 4 more years. So how about
Praise
that?
the
So I
Lord.
don't, by the way, I am up for
hope.
re-election this time.
Yes.
I don't have a primary opponent. I do not have a Democrat. I do have an independent
Right.
in November.
Right.
So, but I don't know what to say about people like that. I mean, it's just, they are despicable.
And you know,
And you know what? And they'll win the battle because they've got, you know, they send out stuff all the time. But and
we're talking
so
about
when I say they'll win the
Tennessee
battle, me
conservative,
calling them
yeah.
despicable, they'll probably fire off
all
you
kinds
know
of stuff. But,
hate mail and things like that. But what a joke! That guy's a joke.
but if you're calling yourself a conservative and you're attacking conservatives, you might not be a conservative.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. Senator
And people
Kerry
might want to
Roberts.
look at who the guy worked for.
Oh, okay, very good.
Yeah, you know who your
Know the background.
know the source.
Yeah,
Yeah,
know
know
the
the source.
background, guys. Anyway, fun talk. Always fun to visit with you, my friend, Senator Kerry Roberts, and
And I really am a happy person, despite how myself. It's you know what? It's Monday morning at 7:00. Could we pick a you know? Is there not a happier time to have a radio show than Monday? My
Are you
Monday
kidding me?
morning.
I'm happy all the time. I had one of my friends. I'm not going to say who it was that works in the district with me, and they actually didn't get the week off because they're not a teacher. God bless you. But she said to me, she goes, "Are y'all ready to get back to work?" Kind of like, and I'm like, "Yeah, I am. I got a great job. I love my kids. I love the fact that I've got a great job. And oh, by the way, we're having a job fair at the end of the month. You might want to see if you can work for the school. Dude, I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm thrilled. I get summers off. I just had a week
okay.
off.
I'm gonna say
It's fun. I have a blast, and I love the kids. They're so special.
His mercies are new
Every morning.
every morning. So I wake up in a
Morning.
good mood, but then we start talking about politics and it's like
Yeah, I dipped my toe in the political waters. I'm not sad that I'm not there.
It is wonderful when you're
God's
working
got me
on
exactly where he
bills.
wants me.
When you're working on bills that really make a positive difference in people's lives, it's
Sure.
wonderful. But when you get sidetracked with all the political garbage,
Yeah.
it just drives me
And
crazy.
I got a feeling that it's about 90% that.
They're
unfortunately.
it's social media has just put all this on steroids because
Yeah.
you know it used to be for you to put something out in the public sphere you had to be on radio, TV,
Yeah.
newspaper, and now anybody can do it, which means it's not vetted and
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
it's like this, and I know we're a little over time,
Mm-hmm.
but it's one of the questions that I have every test I give my kids. I have on there. It says, if you're on social media, you're a broadcaster, true or false? And the ones that'll say false, I'm like, no, you're broadcasting your life, and I don't encourage my kiddos to go into the audio video industry unless it is something that they are just dead set on, like if you want to be an actor,
Mm-hmm.
because it is a cutthroat business. It is hard. I mean, you're a lot of times you're independent.
Yeah.
You got to be ready for it because it's a hard industry to be a part of. And if you want to do it, go for it. And I tell them, say, have a gig to make money.
yeah.
You know, be a teacher, be an accountant, and do this on the side, and you might hit.
Well,
But it's such a showman thing now that I just tell them, say, learn it and learn to do it well because
Well,
you're broadcasting your life every time you get on
and
this
they're
thing.
not only broadcasting their life, but then nothing dies on the internet.
You better
and,
believe it.
And
It'll
so
follow you
all
for
of
the
these
rest of
little
your
TikTok
life.
videos and things like that,
Yeah.
I just and do not. I mean, people say, "Well, my account's private." I mean,
No,
do
it's
you
not.
really trust you know, these people to protect your privacy. I
Nope.
mean, they're going to get sold, and it's just going to,
Be careful out
there'll be a
there.
breach and whatever. So I may be the only politician who's not on social media, and I'm glad I'm not, and I don't. I just go to my website, and that's it.
There you
you
go.
know.
And that's how you get in touch with him. And so tell him the capital.
Capital.tn.gov. You can look up legislators. You can look up myself. You can look up Dr. Kumar. So I'm the senator. He's the representative, but we both represent Robertson County. And you can also track bills. You can track bills. It's a really nice website, and but it's got contact information. We love to see people. I do. I meet with people all the time. The only problem is there's, again, more requests than there are meeting slots, but do it early. I mean, if you know you're coming, the schedule probably books up about 2 to 3 weeks in advance,
Okay.
sometimes a month. But when you know you're coming, do it. And then I meet with people in the district.
And remind people how
Yeah.
many counties you serve.
I have Robertson, Cheatham, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, and part of Montgomery.
Okay. And that's the
So-
difference because Dr. Kumar is out a
Just
lot
Robertson,
because he
yeah.
has just Robertson. And I have to remind people of that.
Oh,
all
we're
the
out.
time,
Yeah,
all the
people.
time.
Yeah, we're out all the
And,
time. The problem is if you drive to Waverly for something, that's just that's 4 hours of your
That's your
day.
day. That's your day.
So it's a little bit different. So yeah, people in Robertson County will see him more than they see me. We're on the road a whole lot. But it's like this this weekend. Being in Dixon on Saturday, being in Clarksville or Montgomery County yesterday, and it just takes forever to get to
Makes the
things.
day. Makes
To
the
go
day.
to drive down to Dixon, took an hour and a half each way, and so you lose 3 hours.
Do you
So
have grandkids yet?
No.
I didn't think so.
Yeah.
Okay. You got 2 that are married.
yeah,
Yeah. So see, I've got my 5th grandchild, and when you get grandkids in the mix,
yeah,
oh my word, that's
Yeah.
something all the time. Lee Marie's always going, go, wanting me here or there, and I'm like, I got some.
You wanna go play with
I'm going to
grandkids,
be
yeah.
missing stuff with my grandbabies to do the Vietnam vet things this weekend, but that's okay because I mean that we can miss a softball game. It'll be all right.
yeah.
But we got to go. I know Ilyu's going to LaVern at 7 after. I got other things going. I'm sorry, Ilyu. It's Senator Kerry Roberts. But anyway, good morning, you guys. I hope you have a great Monday morning. And tomorrow we should be able to hear from County Mayor Billy Vogel because the county commissioners meeting is tonight. So hopefully he will be up for heading in, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. I hope you have a great day. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless you. Have an awesome day.